Adam Stark here. Today we're going to go over all of my personal favorite video games of all time. These are just what I personally like, what I personally enjoy playing, or have played in the past that I will always remember and stuff like that, that I'll just rank them up there at the highest. I like these kind of lists because everybody's going to be completely different. No one's just going to be exactly the same, and the reasons are always going to be extremely different. I made sure to make a list just in case I'd be goofy enough to forget one of them. You know how I do in these live videos. I get really tired and say stupid things like call actors directors and directors actors and say things that don't make sense. But anyways, here I am. I'm going to go over this. None of this is extremely definitive, except my number one is my absolute number one favorite game of all time, which I will definitely save for last. Obviously, if I fail to give credit where it should be, thank you for all the companies and employees and stuff that make these games. And some of them, of course, some of these games were made under very harsh conditions. People were overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, uncredited, all that sort of stuff. So, obviously, credit for that, of course, because that's never a good thing when that happens. But the product is there and appreciated, of course. And just keep in mind, if I don't say your game, it doesn't mean I don't like it. It just means it just wasn't in my very, very top ranked tier list. That's all it means. I like, 100 more games than what I'm going to say. But these are just my favorite. These are the must-have on my list of favorites, of the best games that I like to play. So, here we go now. I'm going to start it off with the only game on this list that is a side-scroller game, because you gotta love the old school games. It's just that they've evolved since then, and once the newer evolution of games came out, 3D. I mean, that's not that new, but you know what I mean, compared to what it was at the beginning. So three-dimensional games where you're in control of the camera and all that stuff, all those things. Then I kind of quit with the old school games. They just didn't stick around for me. But there's one game, and so that's why I had to at least put one on this list. I had to put one. And surprisingly, it is not Sonic. It's not Mario. But it's a game I don't think a lot of people have heard of. It's called Ranger X. It was on Sega Genesis. At least that's the version I played. This was a Goliath of a game. This was a side-scrolling game on Sega Genesis. It was really dope. You're like this guy in a machine or whatever. You have all these different guns. You're on a jetpack. And then you have a motorcycle with you that also shoots. And it's controlled by itself, or you can get on a second controller and control it with that as well. And then you can even jump in your motorcycle, use that, drive that, so you're even faster now. You got different guns now. And then eventually that thing becomes it's like airplane or whatever, jet, that's like on the top of the screen, and you're still down here in your jetpack thing, and this guy's like this big compared to little old you, and it's shooting, and you use your other controller to control that, and just fire from above, and it was really creative, as opposed to all the other side-scrolling games, in my personal opinion. Ranger X was crazy. The explosions were massive in this game. I mean, it was just really cool what they did with it, so I had to at least put one old-school joint on here, just one, and that's the one I ended up doing. Okay, Ranger X, very dope game. Never going to forget that one. Next game, definitely love this game, even for how linear it is. It is done well enough that I absolutely love this game, and it's worth playing and replaying. LA Noire. This game is really cool. It's such a detailed game. It's a detective game. It's based on like the 40s, and all the stuff about it is really cool. It's cool to see LA and Hollywood and all that stuff in the 40s, and it's awesome solving murders and arsons and stuff like that. It's really, the mechanics in this game are really sweet. Finding the clues. Did you even find all the clues? And then interrogation. Did you even interrogate them well? Did you do a good job of that, or did you just screw up and did you miss a clue so you failed to bust them on something that could have really helped your case or whatever? And and then the dialogue in this is excellent. It's they don't hold back. They don't cop out or nothing. They really don't hold any punches with the dialogue. They do a great job. They have that gritty nature to it that make you uncomfortable at times. But I'm saying that as a good thing. Like they didn't wuss out and try and just not hurt anybody's feelings. No, they wanted to make it real because you're around like the shittiest people of the era and stuff. So they're like really showing it to you. And so I've always said I've wanted to have like a great like Forensic Files type of show for a game, right? And I don't think it'll ever happen, but this, even though it's a linear experience, this is definitely the one that's the closest to it, LA Noire. I mean, you get to do it all. And then there's also, on top of that, all that's already great. But you also get to have gunfights and stuff, and shootouts and stuff like that, which is all good and fun. It's not the game's strong suit, but it's still there on top of all that. And if you really want to they let you skip that, which is kind of weird to me. But, it's what it is. If you want to skip that and just stick to the detective work side of the game, you can. And it's done so well that it's enjoyable. And so LA Noire is a fire game. I love it, and I really hope they make another game like it or a sequel to it or whatever. And I say, if they could somehow, with this game's mechanics, okay, of collecting clues, interrogating suspects, and charging which suspect you charge, and blah blah blah, and all that stuff, if they can make a game where it was randomly generated, like procedurally generated case every time you start, so you never know, the characters' names will all change and the clues will all be randomly selected. Oh, this is going to be dropped here and there, and this is what. It was actually a homicide. No, it was a double homicide. No, it was a homicide-suicide. It was the whatever. If they can do that, but random every single time, this game. Again, that type of game would be really close to my favorite game of all time, if that can be done. And honestly, I think it can. I just think it hasn't been done, but I think it can be done. So, props to LA Noire. Very, very great experience. You gotta love that game. It's just awesome. All right, next game, old school joint, but really good one. Even holds up today. I should have said that earlier too. These games all hold up today. Like I can still play them today and thoroughly enjoy them. Just saying, they weren't just like good at the time and now they suck or whatever. Like they did well over time. Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Now this game, and I'm referring to just the original Xbox version. I realize that on PC you can play that game and there's mods that make the game infinitely better, and they've revamped everything and made it a lot better than it already is. I get it, I know. But I can't judge that because I don't have a PC that plays games, and I wouldn't know how to do a mod or whatever. I wouldn't have a clue. Someone watching this will have to teach me how to do that because I'd love to do that. It'd be fun. But anyways, so with just what we have in the release of the original Xbox version of Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, amazing game, because this is the only game that has ever been made that is a full game. Okay, but they really focused on the combat, and they did a really great job. Because in this game, you're not locking onto a target and attacking them. No, you are swinging no matter where you're looking. Your swing doesn't stop, and you're not experiencing apprehension when someone's next to you, and your swinging is entirely in your control. Okay. And so it's wherever you're aiming it. It's not, you don't have to lock onto this character and fight them and whatever, which is what I hate a lot of games do, which is why I don't like a lot of games that have this kind of combat at all. They just kind of screw it up for me. But this one did such a good job. So this game kind of changed the way that I think about some things. Like, for example, when you play fighting games that are like 2D, like side-by-side fighting, it is what it is. You just press a button to attack or block and jump and kick and whatever, and that's all cool. But when you're doing a 3D experience like this game, that made me go, I'm never going back to 2D combat again. No, forget that, because this game did such a great job at it. Like, you're walking around, you're aiming the way you want to, so your attack is going to depend on where you're targeting and when you swing, and how close they are to you when you swing, and if they block it or not. All that damage dealt is dependent on your timing and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with oh, you just hold block and then you press punch or whatever. No, you have to be aiming the right way. So if there's a guy next to you here, you have to turn to them and do it. You don't just lock onto them and then you just swing when you're ready. No, you have to swing and aim, which makes this infinitely better than 2D fighting games, in which made me realize, wow, like this game impressed me so much. And now here's the thing. So you don't even have to really enjoy Star Wars to like this game. It helps, but you don't need to be honest with you. It's great as it is, pretending Star Wars has nothing to do with it anyway, because you could simply just think of it as sword fighting too, you know? Now, it also helps that you can have a single one, you can have double, or you can have a dual-bladed one. So you have all them joints to pick from. You got force powers, or if you don't know anything about Star Wars, magical powers. You got all sorts of stuff you can add. And when you're playing this game, you can do split screen, which is always great to do that. So many options, and you can play with computer players. You have to do it on the hardest difficulty, or else it's like basically pointless, to be honest. But it's still fun. Still holds up today. Still fun to play today. So always do it on the hardest difficulty. You can do split screen. You can play all these game modes with it. It's still playable today. Still a lot of fun. You don't need internet. It's awesome. You know, this game is really good for what it is, and it's so cool just being able to aim freely. And the no other game have I ever seen like one-on-one Jedi combat done at this stellar level. No other game ever focused just on that, and this game did it, and they did it so well that you just want to get pissed off that they never did it again and they never made any more after this with this company and with the people that put this combat system together. All right, moving on to the next joint. So I always loved the Halo games. Specifically, the best one of them for sure, by far to me personally, is Halo Reach. That game was like at the very top of the Halo games. It just didn't get any better than that for me personally. Every one after that just dipped, whatever, But all the Halo games are great because they just had very fluent combat. It was all like, okay, so the guns all work really well. None of them seem overly powered than the others, and the two types of guns, the aliens and the humans, whatever, they complement each other very well. It was very fun. The dual wielding was really fun. The mechanics were really fluent, and I'm probably not explaining this well. I'm probably not explaining any of these games really well. But in the Halo universe, the guns were all really fluent. All the mechanics made sense. The vehicles handled well. Everything was doing what they should be doing, and it was really great. And so the thing is, Halo Reach just took that and then they added it to a next level. They added these powers where now you can also choose like one of 6 or so different powers that you can also use, which is cool. So just another thing, like whatever. Okay. And then Halo Reach added this thing called Firefight mode, which is like Horde mode. Okay, which is like the never-ending swarm of enemies coming at you wave by wave, and you can have a teammate split screen come and help you and whatever, and just see how long you can survive. So like the Halo games are always great, always well done, and what I've always appreciated about it is they kind of normalize something that I really like the shield system, where it takes more skill to get a kill than games before this, because it wasn't just a few shots and they're dead. No, you had to drain their entire shield and still shoot to kill them. So unlike other games where it's like, and not there's nothing wrong with it, but in other games, it's like 3 bullets or whatever, like direct hits, you might be dead. Well, in Halo games, it took a lot more bullets to actually kill them, with the exception of headshots, obviously, but a lot more. So it took more skill to get a kill. So it was more rewarding, more of a I don't know. I like to think of it as a better experience. Now, where the game lacks is longevity, which is a big deal to me. Is games that will last forever. Whereas what I mean by that is inevitably the game servers for online are going to shut down with every game, no matter what's going to happen. So in the Halo games, what do you do when the servers are done? Well, you play the story mode, okay, but story modes will get old, and it's not like you just want to watch the same cutscene and play it again and again frequently. You might every couple years, whatever. But anyway, here's my point. Without offline bots, playing with bots, computer players offline, it just sucks. So at least Halo Reach has the survival mode thing called Firefight. So there's something there, okay? Whereas the other Halos before this did not, and that was a shame. So you can only really experience that multiplayer awesome fascination that was there when the servers were online if you have other players with you, physically with you in the room. So that's the thing. A lot of games failed. So that's why I always said, if the Halo games had offline bots, oh my god, they would be so much higher on this list. That's a fact. Okay? But anyways, props to them. They still did a great job. Next game. Another game, very random, but I love this game. This game is crazy. This game was on Sega Dreamcast, like early 2000s. This game was called Sonic Shuffle. This game was crazy. It was like a board game, okay, and you always had 4 players, even if the other 3 of them were computer players, but you can do up to 4 players on the same machine or whatever. And so you go across all the spaces on the board, and some of them are giving you points, some of them are taking points away, some of them are giving you powers, some of them are like shops where you can buy magical items and stuff. And then, of course, my favorite, most of the board is mini games. So this is a game that has games within the game. So there's like 100 different mini games that you'd be playing in this game. There's like snowball fights where all 4 of you will get in snowball fight, and whoever hit the other players the most will win, like at the end of that mini game, and then you move on and do the next, moving on the board or with your player, whatever, whoever's turn it is or whatever. And then there'd be like, okay, this mini game is a race, this mini game is a rodeo, this mini game is all the players are shrunk to the size of like a grape or something, and they're like on a skillet, and they're being cooked by Dr. Eggman. You gotta try not to get hurt as bad as the others and stuff. There's so many games within this game. It's remarkable, and they're all just fun. It's just goofy fun. That's all it is. It's just mindless, goofy entertainment. And I like the system. It wasn't dice. You're not throwing dice to make your move. You all have cards that you can see, and you can steal cards from the other players, but you don't know what they are, so you're taking a risk if you steal them. But it's fun. This game is crazy, and it's a really long-winded game, just like a real board game, because one time I played this joint, just one level, the first board, okay, and it was like 10.5 hours. I was playing with 2 of my cousins. It was, wow. It's a long-winded game. It's really goofy, but this game is crazy fun, and I get why maybe people might not like this game, but I love it. This game is crazy. This is my list, okay? I like it. Goofy fun. Okay. Sonic Adventure games. Mostly Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast, although I know Sonic Adventure Battle and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube had just the same game, but better graphics and more stuff, more content. I get that, but I didn't play those games technically, so I can't really, speak on that. These games, I just love them because I've always loved Sonic games, like talking about the old school ones on 2D and whatever, and so it was really cool to see Sonic brought out to like the 3D world, and I like what they did with them. It is just cool. I enjoyed the story. I thought they were crazy and goofy and whatever, and it was fun just to go really fast and do your double jumps and fight all your bosses that all seemed, really different or whatever. Yeah, the story is a little weird, but they were still really cool. And then, Sonic Adventure 2, that game just took everything that Sonic Adventure 1 did, but just made it better. That's just my opinion. And I like there's a good range of characters. Every character's levels are different, because you got the fast characters versus the strong characters, you could call them, and the machines, and then you got the scavenger characters, which are looking for the pieces of the Master Emerald. So they're all completely different characters that do completely different missions in it, and it's just really fun. I mean, I like the game. It's really cool. I think I can understand if it looks dated today and it doesn't hold up as well or whatever, but as far as a Sonic game, this was the best one by far to me. And just a funny story I'm going to throw out there. When I first got my Sega Dreamcast, okay, I went to the store. I bought a Sega Dreamcast memory card, okay, used. And when I got home, I put in Sonic Adventure 1, and I couldn't believe it. On my used memory card, the store person, the store clerk or whatever, must have forgot to delete and clear all the files on it, because it still had all that person's files and data and whatever, and memory. He or she had Sonic Adventure 1 100% beat. So he had every mission unlocked, and every character or whatever. So when I put Sonic Adventure 1 in the first time, I'm like, whoa, okay, I just get to select whatever mission I feel like, and I don't have to unlock them all, which is really cool, because then I could, like, jump to the end or jump to the casino mission, which was a lot of fun. That one was my favorite. And, like, so just a funny. But anyway, Sonic Adventure 2 is a better one of them, in my opinion. And that joint is crazy. I love just all the powers you unlock with Sonic, going really fast. And seeing how fast you can beat the levels gives you that degree of replayability right there. And I appreciate, like, how hard it gets at the end. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I just suck. I don't know. But at the end, that was tough. That was crazy tough. Like, to actually... I'm talking about, like, the very end of the game. Like, if you can beat that, I give you props. I mean, that stuff, that was hard to do. Because, like, at one point it becomes, the gravity changes, and you're, like, your screen is like this, and you're walking sideways, but you still have to hold your controller like normal. And I'm, like, I'm tripping. I'm, like... And I mean literally tripping in the figurative sense, because I was just getting destroyed. I mean, oh man, it's a tough game. Tons of variety though, and just a lot of fun. And that game, yes, a lot of it is nostalgia too. This is my list. You don't have to agree with it. That's my favorite. I like that one. There's my dogs. And now my other joint, I definitely got to give props to Grand Theft Auto games. Now, I definitely got to put 5 as my favorite, but here's the thing. As cool as it is, as fun as it was, I got to definitely say that I liked it better when they, remastered it, re-editioned it, when they put it onto Xbox One, because I think that was 2 years later, or maybe 3 years later, or whatever. Well, whatever it was, the point is, the original version was great. Like, I still enjoyed it or whatever. But once they remastered it with new graphics, upgraded it to 4K, and then what I did not expect at all was the really, really, I can't stress this enough, very impressive quality of that first-person view edition. That was crazy. Because, look, I like both first and third-person shooting games, but when it comes to open-world games, as much as I like the Grand Theft Auto games, no offense, but they all got old to me after a while. They just did. That's is what it is. They got old. It's like you play, oh, okay, whatever. I had my fun. I'm done. But not this one. When they added the first-person view, I didn't realize just how good they were going to make it. Because you got to understand something. I beat the game, the original GTA 5 that came out in 2013 on Xbox 360. And it was a great game. And I thoroughly enjoyed all of the missions and the variety and the decisions and how do you want to do the heist and stuff. I loved it. I really did. Okay? But then when they redid this game, remastered, whatever the actual word is, okay, re-released it, and it came out, and you could do first-person view, I didn't realize they meant they were going to, like, really do first-person view as impressive as other games. I didn't think that was going to be the case. See, what I'm trying to say is, what's the thing you know about Grand Theft Auto games? A lot of it is auto-aim. I don't like auto-aim. Never, ever liked auto-aim. I don't do that with no game I play. I will purposely go into the settings, turn off auto-aim on every game I play. I don't do that stuff. That stuff is, to me, it's cheating, and not that necessarily matters, but I think it's boring. And then what's the point? It's no fun. So, when I turn off auto-aim, right, and you go into first-person view in GTA, and I'm going, dang, you really can aim the weapon wherever you want. You're not just stuck on a person, right? And the fact you could look through the iron sights, what? And you can see the cockpit of aerial vehicles. You can see the speedometers on vehicles on the ground, right? And then my favorite, if you go into the gun stores and you buy scopes, different scopes, you buy red dot sights, ACOG sights and stuff, you can actually use them. I never, ever thought I'd see that in a Grand Theft Auto game. So the fact that they did that, and they did it so well, just really, really impressed me and surprised me both. I didn't see that coming. So to have an open world game like GTA, like a Grand Theft Auto game, but with very fluent first person view immersion, that was insane. So on top of already the reasons I already love the game, all the heists and the replayability, because you can choose to set up the heist differently, you can choose different crew members, you can choose different ways to attack and do the heist itself. So just amazing, lots of replayability there, just so much fun, all the different vehicles and stuff. So you got to have that on the list, absolutely. Props to them. I wonder what the next GTA 6 will be like, you know. Alright, next one. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, Xbox One. This game is really great because, see, I loved Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, the first one, and then the second one, this one came out and took everything about that game, but added a lot more. Like a ton more. Just made everything better. It was like, whoa. So this game, first of all, it's play how you want to play. You can play online, you can play offline with bots, and you can do split screen offline with bots. You already know, if you know me, those are my favorite joints right there. Okay, so that was crazy, right? You have a lot of variety with the different plants you can have, and then you can unlock more what they call costumes or whatever for your plants, and then they have different weapons, but the powers are the same, and then you can upgrade your powers, you can upgrade your gear or whatever, and then you got the two teams that are very different, extremely different, so you got just a crap load of variety. You got tons of different game modes that are just really a lot of fun, really great. You have tons of customizable options, so this game just does it very well. It's got everything. I mean, seriously, this game has just got it all. And like I said, you don't need internet to do it. You don't got to be online. You just play how you want to play it. Choose your difficulty. Play split screen if you want. I mean, all the varieties there. It's just a good time. You know, it's no different than games back in the day, like, you know, Unreal Tournament. Like, I love Unreal Tournament 3, and then like I love Shadowrun. I love Perfect Dark Zero. You know, this thing's got a lot in common with those games, except obviously this is rated T for teen instead. But that just goes to show you how much fun it is, and how well it did, because it made my list and really impressed me. Because a game that impresses me is when there's more than just like a couple things I can name about why it's good. You know, it is what it is. They really impressed me, and as good as the first one was, this one just went beyond that, which I didn't see coming. You know, it was crazy. All right, moving on here. Any one of these games could just as easily be my number one, like straight up. Oh, I should have mentioned Quake Wars 2. Not 2, but Quake Wars also is another good game that I love that joint too. I forgot to mention. Anyway, so the next games, I'm not gonna do a whole shebang on the order or whatever, but I'll make it brief. But any one of these games could easily be my number 1, 2 as well, because they're just so good, and I still play these all the time. Fire joints that'll last forever is the Star Wars Battlefront games. I'm talking about the main 4, okay, released on consoles. Not talking about the whatever, just the main 4. With the exception of Battlefront 2015, that one's a little lacking, okay, and that it is what it is. It's you could still play it today for some of the features, but mostly I'm going to be talking about the other 3. I already did a whole video breaking down what is my favorite Star Wars Battlefront game, and very specifically why. I broke down every single possible detail about the 4 games at their final version of them, after all the expansion packs and updates and live service updates and all that stuff. Okay, I already broke that down in another video, but to make it short, okay, as short as I can, and my horrible track record of making things short on these lives. So the Battlefront games, and just like I said earlier with Jedi Academy, you don't really need to like Star Wars to like these games. I mean, if that's what you think, you're misunderstood. You really don't. It just helps with the experience, but you don't need to. These are just large-scale battle shooting games that also have vehicles, and you have tons of computer players as well. So it's like, what more do you want in a game? That's why this game can be played at any time. You do not need internet at all, and you still play it and enjoy it and do split screen and enjoy the whole experience, right? So these games are large-scale battles and tons of vehicles, tons of variety. The maps are great. The AI is great. Yes, I mentioned there's things that aren't perfect. I mentioned all that in my other video I already did, right? And then, of course, playing as the heroes and villains, like the Jedis and the evil Jedis, and then the heroes that are not lightsaber people, but are like, you know, bounty hunters and scoundrels and Princess Leia and all that stuff. Like, I get through all that in that video, but my point is, you got tons of variety. You got really fun mechanics. So you get large scale battles that you don't need to go online to play. You don't need internet to play. You just play them right where you're at, and you're having a blast. It's got it all right there for you. And then all the guns are really fun in these games. I love them all. And then, of course, you got the great vehicles, because you got flying vehicles, you got ground vehicles, you got tanks, you got walkers, you got speeder bikes, you got hovercrafts, and all sorts of things in this game. And then it just gets even better because, like I said, with all these bots, all these offline players, and nowadays they call them auto players and stuff, you can get into in the older Battlefront games, you can get into vehicles, you can go to the passenger seat, you can make the computer drive you around, and you never know what kind of crap you're going to get into because they're driving and they got a mind of their own. So it's just a lot of fun. You don't know what situation you'll get into, or you can just drive and then have them be in the passenger seat or whatever. It's infinitely fun. Like, there's so much fun to be had with these games. You can fight these big battles the way that you want to do it. So do you want to be a sniper the whole time? Do you want to flank them or charge right into battle the whole time? Do you want to take a vehicle the whole time? Do you want to be a demolitions person and try to blow up as many of their vehicles as you can the whole time? Do you want to play defense the whole time? Do you want to play Jedi the whole time? You get my point. Do you want to be air support the whole time? Like, that's what makes these games crazy. And then the newest Battlefront game, you know, they have a good job with the vehicles, except there's no passenger seats, and you can't just get into a vehicle, you have to buy one, and then once you get out, the vehicle explodes on its own, which is dumb. And then, you know, there's no secondary weapon, it's a power now or whatever, which is my only like major complaint. But besides that, the AI is amazing in the newest Battlefront game. The AI is incredible, and the Jedi battles are insanely well done in this game, the newest Battlefront 2, 2017, as I mentioned. And you can have up to 4 of them on the field at a time on each team. And this is, again, with offline, okay, without internet, offline. You can do all that. And the battles are really good. The AI is incredible. And the force powers are really cool, really well done. And they all work fluently and all that stuff. So you got to have the Battlefront games on your list. I do. Absolutely I do. Because these games are just timeless. You play these big battles, it feels just like a multiplayer experience, but you're playing it you don't need internet. You don't need to worry about going online and all that crap, and you got people that don't help with the objectives and stuff and all the stuff that ruin games like this. Nah, you got it right here. You know, if more games copy this formula of having offline bots that you can play with years after the multiplayer servers are down, some of these games might be right next to this one, like straight up. But, you know, it is what it is. But so refer to my other video I already did, breaking down all the Battlefront games, because that's a long video and that tells you very specifically everything I just said. But you get the point. This is a big battle, great gunplay mechanics, excellent shooter, excellent vehicles, loads of fun, great immersion, great variety, and big battles with bots and vehicles and air vehicles. I mean, it's got it all. It's got sword fighting and stuff with lightsabers, obviously, but you know, it's got it all. These games are just so cool, right? Okay. Now, the next 2 games, I'm gonna say it's a tie, yo. It is. It's a tie because I just can't pick one definitively over the other. Condemned or Fear. Okay, 2 amazing games. Now, they both had sequels. Fear had a sequel, Fear 2, Fear 3. Fear 2 is forgettable, no offense, but very forgettable. Fear 3 was cool for one part, is you get to play as Paxton Fettel, which is like the evil guy that, I'm not explaining this well, it's been a long time, but you can play as like the guy where you can like possess people and stuff, and you're not using guns, you're using like your evil, witchcraft or whatever. So I know that's not explaining it very well, but my point is they're forgettable. But the original Fear game, amazing experience, right? Condemned had a sequel, Condemned 2. Condemned 2 improved on the gameplay, but the story isn't as good as original Condemned, of course. Now, I love both these games, but just really, like, it makes you wonder why more games weren't made like this, and why they just didn't get further than they did because they're so great, right? So, we'll start with Condemned, okay? So, Condemned is a first-person detective game. It's very linear, but yes, it's a detective game, and you are a mystery detective, whatever, and it's also a horror game. It's scary. You have like a headlight for a flashlight. It's not like perfect, so it's still scary or whatever. And then it's all about melee combat. There's some guns in the game, very few, and every time you find one, they only got like 3 shots in them, or maybe 6 at the most. So the guns are not very around. It's mostly the melee. What makes it fun, for the melee, you pick your own thing. You go up to the wall, you pull a lead pipe off of the wall. You find a wooden plank, you break a wooden plank off of a 2x4 or off of a wooden pallet or something. That's your weapon. You find shears, that's your weapon. You find a cleaver in the kitchen, that's your weapon. You get my point. Very cool. Good physics in that game. The AI was really good too. They were really scary, and they would hide behind walls. They would sneak up on you and try to kill you and attack you, and it's scary. The combat's fun and exciting, and because it's melee combat, it's scarier than if you have a gun. Because if you have a gun, you see someone coming from far away, you can just try your best to, take them out and light them up before they get to you. But in Condemned, it's melee, so every confrontational is up close and personal, which makes it more scary than it already was, right? And then you get all these cool detective tools. You're scanning fingerprints, you're scanning dead bodies, you're taking DNA samples, blood samples, and pictures of corpses and stuff. You're doing all sorts of crazy stuff, CSI-esque stuff, and it's a lot of fun. And so you gotta love Condemned. Like I said, Condemned 2, it improved on like the actual gameplay and the combat, but the actual like story just didn't do as well as the original. But it is what it is. I mean, they had a lot to live up to. First one was brilliant. I definitely there's one level in Condemned 2 I love. It's a cabin level, and at one point in the level, there is a bear that is chasing after you, a grizzly bear. As scripted as it is terrifying, and it's dope. You're running through this cabin, and if you miss a turn, the bear kills you, and then you have to, reload your checkpoint or whatever. So every time you're running around, and you got to, like, get your path just right, because that bear breaks through the wall, it slashes at you, it busts its head through the drywall, and you need to book it, man. It's terrifying. It's really great. Like, they killed it with that level, but to be honest, besides that, it's not nearly as good as Condemned 1. So that's that. Now, Fear, specifically the first one, is such a dope game. So this game, I've said this before, but this game might single-handedly have the best AI I've ever seen. Maybe. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, a lot of people say it does, and I can't say that for sure, but it's definitely in my maybe for the best AI ever, because they're so impressive. If this game had offline bots, ooh, man, that would be really cool. Dang it. No, but anyway. So this game perfectly blends horror with action. Like, literally perfect blend. Like, perfect. Because it's scary. Even though you have guns, it's scary. Because in this game, you'll be walking through your levels, right? And then all of a sudden, the whole screen will transform, and you'll see like a creepy little girl walk in front of you and whatever, and it may not let you shoot, or it may let you shoot and then nothing happens or something. you'll see like a dead body come out of the ceiling, hung or something. Like, it's creepy. It's horrifying, and they do a good job with scares, not just jump scares, but scares in general. So like, Fear does a great at that, and then the action is really good. The bullet holes in the walls. You shoot the walls up and then smoke comes out of them, which at the time was a big deal. I understand now you might say whatever, but at the time it was really cool. All the stuff you shoot around and destroy, and then obviously it didn't even need this, but the fact that it has this is really cool. The slow motion. You press this the whatever button it was, it's been a long time, to activate the slow motion, and then your character goes into Point Man, that's his name in the game, goes into slow motion, and you see bullets whizzing through, like bullet time, like in the Matrix. And then when like a grenade explodes, you see like the explosion slowly, and you see like the physics of the things that the grenade affected slowly, like the particles, whip around and stuff. It's really cool, right? And then what steals the show though is the AI, man. The computer enemies are so damn good. They have like a nickname for it. I don't remember what it is. That's like goal oriented something. I don't remember. I'm probably screwing it all up, but whatever it is, look it up. But in Fear, they're so smart. You can actually hear them like call out on their walkie-talkie if you're listening close enough. Like he's reloading, go flank him. Like they literally chat with each other into such a scary accuracy of like what they should be doing. And another thing I like is, so like they might flank you, or they might go run upstairs and try shooting you from up there where you might not be focused or something, right? And then also what's even crazier than all of that, right, which is already good enough, but they'll even take like a desk or like a table or something, and they'll flip it on its side so they can take cover behind it and just like keep pointing out and shooting at you and whatever. So cool, man. They killed it with that game. It's an excellent game, and it's definitely worth it. They did a great job. I just wish you could do more stuff like offline. Like in the Xbox version, when they released on Xbox after PC, they added like these missions or whatever. They're cool, but they'll get old. So it is what it is. It's still a great game, still a legendary experience. You just wish that you could do more stuff with it. That's all I'm saying. Okay. All right. So now we got 2 left. All right. Now, I love the Elder Scrolls games. I love them to death, and I know I'd love them even more if I had a PC and their versions, because I already know, like I said, PC versions of games are always the best. They always will be the best. So I don't I don't know nothing about PCs, man. One of you's gonna have to teach me. I don't know how to do a mod. I don't know anything about nothing. If I could do that, a lot of these games would be completely different games, and because they would fix things, add things, transform things, all that. I get it. But I go with what I work with, okay? I'm an Xbox guy. So here's the thing. I should say console guy, because some of these games were PlayStation. Right? Anyways, now, here's the thing. The debate with me comes to Elder Scrolls Oblivion or Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition. Here's the thing, man. As crazy as this sounds, you gotta hear me out, though. Elder Scrolls 5 Special Edition, Xbox One, is better because of the mods. That's the fact. It's because of the mods. Because you can actually do mods on Xbox One. They're not as versatile and as good as on PC, no. But at least they were cool enough to let us do mods on the Xbox One version of it. So, because of the mods specifically, I do like it better than Oblivion. Now, here's the thing. Without mods, I actually like Oblivion better. As crazy as that sounds, a game that came out 6 years before it. See, Oblivion, and don't get me wrong, I like Morrowind as well, Elder Scrolls 3. I like, because that was like the most challenging one, I would say, for sure. They don't hold your hand or nothing. And I like that they had things like throwing stars, spears, and like a teleport spell, stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But it's just, compared to the latter, no. Now, Oblivion, by the way, has the best music ever, okay? That game's music is just fire to me. So it's kind of bad when one of my mods on Skyrim is it adds Oblivion music to the game. So, okay, right? But anyways, with all that being said, right, Oblivion has better music to me by far than Skyrim. I still love Skyrim's music. Do not get me wrong. But I love Oblivion's music the most, okay? So, in Oblivion, I like I love the story in that game. It felt like there was such a purpose to it. That's just me. People will rip this game apart forever, and, I just kind of don't know why at this point. Like, they worked with what they worked with. They rebuilt the engine at the time for the mechanics and stuff, and I love what they did with it, okay? I enjoyed it. Now, the things that I like about it, okay, you have a one hotkey spell button, which I wish they had in the new games. Yes, I'm sure they have it on PC. But I'm saying it's cool that you can keep whether it's heal yourself or a fireball or whatever, you have that one button there, so then you don't have to go in the menu and switch out whatever's in your hands, okay? You just got that quick spell button. And I miss that, right? The story is just better in Oblivion. It is what it is. I like that story. The Oblivion gates are coming. They're opening up, and you got to go into each one of them and stop them. Even though that might sound repetitive, I enjoyed it. That's just me, okay? The thing that the game was lacking in was, like, the combat was like, dude, as much as I still enjoyed it, okay, I did, but it's like there was no weight to any of your weapons. You were like with your swords and stuff, and that was just like when you look back at it, you're like, dang, I don't even remember it being that way, because you're used to games after that. But then you start to notice it. You're like, dang. I still love that game though, and I love that you can create your own spell in the tower or whatever. It's really cool. Like, that was something neat. Okay, now you go into Skyrim, and they added dragons, which is really cool and really well done, really fun, awesome part of the game that is unforgettable. Like, no game has ever done dragons better than Skyrim. That is my personal opinion, anyway. And the fact that there are random encounters in the game and the vanilla game experience and all that stuff is great. Now, here's my point, right? So, when you add mods, though, then Skyrim becomes a super game. Like, it goes from as great as it was to boom, way better, because I have all these crazy mods on mine that make the combat like as realistic as possible. No joke. Like, this is how I play it. The physics is a lot better because there is weight now. Whereas in the original game, there is no weight. Your weapon might be 75 pounds, but when you swing it, it's like, and you're just swinging away, and it's like, word. But now, what we do is with these mods that I put on there, it's great because now the physics feels real, and there's things like there's a whole new combat experience now, which is something you can't get in Oblivion. Unless you have mods, but there's no mods on the Xbox. Get my point, right? But in the Skyrim versions that I use with my mods, the fighting experience is great now. Swords clash in midair if you do it right. Your blocking now has many different, features to it. Like, the timing and position takes a lot more effect now for blocking in Skyrim, because if I block perfect timing, it'll stagger them, okay? And if I'm just holding block, like, forever, and then they attack me, my block barely does anything to them and to me. So it's, like, really cool. They really challenge you to be better at blocking. I have cool mods that let you block while you're dual wielding, whereas normally you can't. So it's, like, really cool. And then energy, your movement is realistic. You're not, like, all crazy, like, unrealistically fast or whatever. There's a whole new type of spell system that I have in one of these mods. Obviously, all the graphics mods are crazy in the game. And then there is this a couple of different mods I have that let you go, and this this is so crazy to even say. I have a mod in this game that lets you do deathmatch, a one-on-one duel, or deathmatch with multiple other players. Okay, I mean computer players. It's still only a one-player experience, but team deathmatch. What? Battle Royale, mage match, mage in the cage they call it or whatever. And I'm like, I never thought in my life I would see a day when I could play an Elder Scrolls game with team deathmatch, something that I would be doing like in like Unreal Tournament or whatever, and here I am doing it in a Skyrim game. That's mind blowing, right? But it's really well done. It ain't like goofy or stupid or glitchy. No, it's great, right? And then this other mod I got that it's like if you tap block, it does like a high block or whatever, and if you hold it, it's like down here. Oh man, the directional blocking addition to the mods in Skyrim are great. And then another mod that's so cool is Immersive Patrols, I think it's called, where now guards will not just stay in the town that they're in, but they walk all around Skyrim. They randomly go through forests, they randomly go through valleys and jungles and hills and mountains and stuff. And if they run into the Civil War, like the other type of guard, they'll fight. You'll randomly walk and see fights all the time. If they see a crime, they'll fight. If they run into a bear, they'll fight. I'm not saying they'll win, but they'll fight. And sometimes you'll just walk around, you'll see the aftermath of a fight. You're like, dang, so like this guard died, this bear died. You're like, what? You just see all sorts of crazy stuff. And then another mod, and that one's really might be my favorite too. That's crazy. But another mod I got in it is you can what is it? Oh, all the towns are open now. So the doors are just open. There's no loading screen. The towns are just open. So if a dragon's attacking you, you can't just go hide in a town or whatever, or stay in a town, leave it to go into that loading screen. Where it's all there. There ain't no loading screen. You're just in there. It just, the whole world is open. It's really crazy. So that's the thing. For story, I love Oblivion. Absolutely. It's a powerful experience that I really enjoyed and stuff, and I love that. But then for just the combat, they did for a console at up to this current point in time, this with mods, Skyrim with mods, has the best medieval combat. Okay, so now before I get to my very number one choice for favorite video game of all time, before that, I'm gonna mention three games that I don't have, that some of them are not out yet either, but I might be on my list right here. One of them is a PC only game currently. It might be PC forever, I don't know. It's called Mordhau. That game is a medieval combat game with really intense physics, directional blocking, directional aiming, and all that stuff. It's really cool looking, really beautiful graphics, really amazing looking. That game, if I don't like PC games, not that came out wrong. I don't like playing PC games. I don't like a keyboard. I don't like all that stuff. So I can't do it. But I'm saying, if somehow that experience could come to a console, that game looks so cool, it might end up on this list for real. Another game is called Chivalry Medieval Warfare 2. It's not out yet, but when that game, it's coming out for Xbox One. When that game comes out, that game is exactly what I just described with Mordhau, except obviously this is newer, and they planned on making it for consoles as well from the beginning. So with the directional blocking and the combat, the unique medieval combat, and these guys have a lot of experience with that stuff, that game might very well also be on this list, specializing in that kind of thing, like the timing of your block and whatever. Okay, and then another game that I absolutely cannot wait, and I'm assuming, but you can never say for sure, right? But I'm assuming it's going to be on this list as well, is Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord for the Xbox One version, of course, whenever that comes out. So That game is a humongous medieval combat sim, first and third person, and then there's catapults, there's cannons, there's every type of medieval weapon you can think of: aerial, blunt, and one-handed, two-handed, sharp, and all sorts of that stuff, right? And then there's also a horse combat and stuff. So then a really well done, not just like a goofy little whatever, but really well done. And you can even have offline bot battles, 1,000 versus 1,000, 1,000 versus 1,000. That's 2,000 computer players on the screen. That's crazy, right? And so the thing that makes that game impressive, again, first or third person, which is really great, and then directional blocking is always an amazing thing. And believe me, I've seen a lot of videos on this game, and I can't wait. I'm very excited. And another thing I like is, so if you, they were explaining it in the breakdown of this video. Let's say you have a giant two-handed axe, not like a one-handed war axe, but like a two-handed battle axe or whatever, right? When you're swinging it, okay, the enemy that gets hit, pretend they're not blocking or whatever, right? Depending on where they're standing and how long your swing was before it made contact with them, and what part of your weapon hit what part of them, is going to determine the damage dealt. So in other words, this game is a very, very heavy physics-based experience and simulation, which sounds amazing, sounds epic, which means I can't wait to actually play it. I know I'm just going to love this game. So, I'm looking forward to it. I know I'm going to love it. It's probably going to be right up here on this list. I mean, it just looks so dope. I mean, I've been watching videos of it. They got tons of different game modes too. It's not just like a one-trick pony. They got all sorts of stuff. So I needed to edit and interject in this because, man, I was hesitant to add this first game to the list, but after playing it some more and really going through the customizable options, I have to add this game to the list 100%. And that game is Unreal Tournament 3, the Xbox version. Now, I know that obviously the PC version is better, and I know that on the PS3 version, they actually included some downloadable content that we Xbox people didn't get. I know. But, I mean, I have to go with the one that I've actually played, to be fair and just and everything. So, I'm putting this game on my favorites list for a few reasons. So, it's got split screen, which is obviously awesome. It's got a ton of variety. It's got offline bots, and it's also got vehicles, okay? Air vehicles and ground vehicles and everything. Now, the thing is, the bots you have to play on the harder difficulties in order to feel like a real challenge. But when you do, it's rewarding because they do a great job of, aiming just really well and, taking different paths to get to the flag. They're mostly fun to play objectives with, the capture the flag and the vehicle capture the flag, okay? When you play those game modes, it's the most fun in that game, with my personal opinion. And, I love customizing it so, you take weapons that you don't like out of the game and you put weapons that you do like into the game, because you can get really specific with the guns, like what you start with and what guns are on the map and what guns are not and everything. So I like to, play it my way or whatever. But another thing that really makes this fun, so the reason, I'll be honest, I was hesitant to put it on the list. I love the vehicles in it, but what made me mad is, it seemed like whenever I would do 8-on-8 or 7-on-7 or 6-on-6, it seemed like, dang, I'd be in a vehicle and it would just get destroyed so quick. It was like, dang, what is going on? Why can't I, just try to take a vehicle and survive for a little while? It's like, I can't. And then finally, stupid me finally figured out something I should have realized a long time ago when this came out in 2007, is that you can actually repair the vehicles by using the alternate fire on the link gun. The link gun is Unreal Tournament's version of a machine gun. It's really fun to use. The alternate fire shoots like a laser beam that's just like a constant stream of just, a pulsating, effect of damage. But I didn't realize, as stupid as I am, that if you use that on one of your team's colored vehicles, it actually repairs it instead. I'm so stupid and mad that I didn't realize that years ago, because that makes it a lot more fun now, because now I have a link gun as my starting weapon whenever I do vehicle capture the flag or the other game mode that uses vehicles. And then here I go while I'm driving around playing defense or offense or whatever, and my vehicle's getting destroyed or getting demolished. Here I can just get out and repair it quick and get back in and stuff. I mean, it makes it a lot more fun experience. And I find, like, you know, when you're doing vehicles, if you have like less players per team with the bots and stuff, and you still keep it on a high difficulty, of course, but then it's like, hey, you're not like constantly getting shot at and destroyed, because that's kind of what seemed to happen when you have a lot of players on each team. I fly up in the air, I'm already hit by the time I hit the top. I'm like, I'm way up here, like, dang, like, you're already hitting me, and it's not even with like a sniper or anything. I'm just already getting hit by regular ammo. It's like, come on. But I am going to put that game in my list of favorite games of all time. And like I said, it's the customizable options, the really difficult on higher levels, difficult bots, and of course the split screen integration is a lot of fun. I am putting it now officially in my top games of all time. There's just too much to go with it. It is a good time. It's fun, and it's still an unpredictable experience. Like, doing capture the flag on, like, I'll get my favorite map is Facing Worlds, it's called. There's literally just a bridge that splits up two ways, and on each side there's a high tower with the flag. It's like the most simple, basic map, okay? But it was also in the old school game, but you were in outer space. Unreal Tournament, the original. And so in this map, oh, and it's got its own music, which is dope. But so, like, when playing with the bots on a harder difficulty, you know, like, me and my buddy will be on a team, and, you know, we'll coordinate, like, all right, should we order our bots to, there's bot commands, which I love too, and they're very responsive. So, like, you want to order them to defend, to attack. Do you want some of them to hold a certain position? Sometimes I'll have them defend the bridge, right? Or one of them defend the bridge or something. Or do you want one of them to follow one of us, or both of us, or whatever? You get the point. What I love doing is just experimenting different strategies. Like, all right, let's try this, let's try that. Makes it really replayable, like really fun, seriously. But my point is, when we're doing capture the flag, regular capture the flag on that Facing Worlds map, I can't even count how many times randomly an enemy will take our flag, right? And then they'll either come out the old front door, or they'll take like one of the teleport things and they'll come out of like the window or something in a completely different part of the tower. And it's like, that's awesome, because then you don't just have to watch for the same spot and be like, all right, I'm going to catch him in a trap every single time. Like, no, it's a lot better than that, thank goodness. So I have to add that game now on my favorites list. And I would actually put that game above Plants vs. Zombies 2 Garden Warfare 2, actually, surprisingly. Just because, again, playing it a lot more, like, if you play it right away, you might not see it, is my point. But when you really, really use the customizing options, like, you can really get the game to be the kind of game you want, basically, is what I'm saying. And when you do that, it's so much fun. Like, you can make it as difficult and intense as you want, which I have been doing. And it's really fun and rewarding. All right. Now, this next game I'm putting on here, this game, man, I'm not going to try and place it, but I'm just going to say this right now. One of my absolute favorite games of all time. Like, we'll put it in the upper half somewhere of all the games I've mentioned. I'm late to finding this, and it's my own fault. I am blaming myself 100%. I have no one else to blame but myself. So, a lot of people wonder. Now, I've always hated, like, Call of Duty games, the thing is. And I don't mean hate like I think they're terrible. I don't think they're terrible, but I just don't like them. I don't. I find them all repetitive, almost the same game, just cloned into the next game. They do a new one every year, so it's almost like, well, what's the point? And furthermore, like I always say all the time, is the point of me personally investing in a game is it has to be replayable. And the number one thing that makes a game replayable for me is what can I do when the internet is down and the servers on the game are down, which will inevitably happen with every single game that exists. You know, I understand some old games have servers still on PC because of mods, and that's great. But I'm talking about what I know, which is Xbox and console stuff. So, playing the Call of Duty games, and I got the newer ones, the two most recently released Call of Duty games. And yes, I like them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're terrible trash games. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, okay, when you play offline, okay, when you do the campaigns, and I do them, and like I've said this before, but campaigns, I'll play through them once just for curiosity, just to see what happens, and then I'm done with it. I'm bored with it. I don't want to go back and do it again. That I don't care about. I just want to do it once to see it, and then I honestly don't care anymore. But that's just me. I understand I'm different than you, but that's just me. Like, I don't give a crap about the campaigns once it's done. So, but that being said, offline modes. Wow, these games actually have bots, these new ones, but they're terrible. They're god awful. They're worthless. They're not fun at all. They're not fun to play with. You know, you should probably automatically give them props for putting some bots in there, sure, but they're dumb. They're terrible. They're completely set paths. They don't do anything special. They don't do half the maneuvers you can do, which is a big thing for me when it comes to games with bots, is how many things besides the pause button can they do that you do? Can they take cover? Can they crouch? Can they roll? Can they sprint? Can they use all of their weapons and all of their abilities? And can they use the kill streaks and score streaks in Call of Duty? So here I was thinking, yeah, all Call of Duty games suck, because the last one I played was Black Ops 1, and then I gave up on Call of Duty games. I'm like, yeah, and that game was okay. I'm not saying it was terrible, once again. But I was like, whatever. You know, these games are not going to be for me, because when the servers are down, what am I going to do? Just feel like I wasted up a bunch of time that I can't use anymore, because if I put that game in again, all I can do is play with bots that suck and do the campaign, which doesn't bother. It's not worth it to me. It doesn't interest me. So here I'm doing research, and I'm going, Call of Duty Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts, Call of Duty Ghosts. I'm reading all this stuff, and I'm like, no way. You cannot be serious. The stuff I was reading, I was like, there's no way that is real. There's no way that that's actually a real legitimate thing, because everything I've been asking for is in this game. And I bought it. One of the best purchases I ever made, man. Call of Duty Ghosts, I'm officially putting on my favorite games of all time. Specifically, Gold Edition for the Xbox One, because it's got better graphics and stuff than the original Xbox 360 version or whatever. Now, okay, you gotta understand, like, this blows my mind, because, like I said, the other Call of Duty games, they're just copies of each other, basically, and no disrespect to them, but they're like kind of like copies of each other, just with a little bit of new tweaks every time. They release a new one every year, and then the offline stuff is garbage. It's like I said, the campaign, play it once, enjoy it, fine, and then you're done. And I'm like, okay, it's not for me. That's just not for me at all. Like, that's not, I don't care about that. I like games with really good bots and stuff that you can feel like you're getting a multiplayer simulated experience when you play it. And here, the game was there the whole time from 2013, and I was just too stupid to see it. I should have been playing this game since 2013, enjoying it. But no, I am doing it here now, a long time later, several years later. But no, I've always said, I've wanted a tactical shooter that you can play with really smart bots, like offline, and play with split screen and stuff. I've always said that. I never knew it already existed for Xbox. I never knew it already existed for Xbox One. It was right there in front of me. So now let me get to the actual game itself. So Call of Duty Ghosts offline. You can have up to 17 bots. And these bots have the 4 difficulties plus a mixed difficulty, which is so cool, because then you never know what you'll get on your team and the opponent's team. You can get some that are, not good, and then some that are really insanely skilled good at the same time. You can have a mixture, right? And then, you can have it in between. And so you got a lot of bots. These bots are really smart. They're really incredible. They're really talented. They're multi-talented, multifaceted. They're incredible. It reminds me of games on this list like Fear and Star Wars Battlefront 2 2017 with the auto players. It totally reminds me of that because they're really good. They are not set paths, which is a big deal for me. They're not set paths. They will think on their feet. They'll think on their own. They will drop shot you, which is something human players invented. They will take cover. They will shoot through the walls to try and kill you if they think it's a good maneuver. Like, I've been playing this game a lot. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about now that I'm late to the party, but I know what I'm talking about. And so this is not only is it done so well, but there's so much variety outside of just the bots itself. There's a ton of maps. There's a ton of guns. There's a ton of class setups. There's a ton of kill streaks / score streaks or whatever. There's so many things you can do in this game. It's awesome. I can't even count. There's more than 10 game modes you can play with all up to 17 bots and in the difficulties and stuff you pick. So the variety is fantastic. All the guns are amazing in this game. And then there's just little details I appreciate, such as, like, for example, there is actually parts of maps that are destructible. And that is really cool because normally in Call of Duty, you don't get a lot of destructible environments, period. You get little things like if there's a dish or a bottle or a television or something, you could kind of, shoot that or punch it and break it or whatever. But in Ghosts, there's whole things. There's like street signs. There's like a gas station on this map called Octane that you can literally explode and it'll fall over and stuff. And oh my God. So little things like that, stuff that doesn't affect my ranking of the game or anything, but it's awesome and it's impressive and it makes me very happy to see that, right? But anyways, the point of this game, there's umpteenth different guns and gun combinations and, secondary guns and explosives and the kill streaks and score streaks are extremely varied. And like I said, because the bots are really good in this game, the best of all the Call of Duty games, they actually use their kill streaks. So, like, the most common one is the radar, and then the guard dog. Well, I see the computer players using them. That is awesome. Like, I'm glad it's not just human players. Like in the other Call of Duty games that I've played with bots, it's just you. But now in this game, you get to see all of it. You get to experience the whole thing. So when I'm playing this game, or I'm playing split screen with this game, I'm all of a sudden seeing computer players with dogs running around. I'm like, what? This is a Call of Duty game with bots. When does that ever happen? Right? But it's happening. And then I see cool things like they'll use helicopters. They'll use the Trinity rockets and stuff. And I'm like, what? I'm like, where has this game been? Like, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't realize this several years ago. I would have been playing this all these years, not wishing I had that perfect offline multiplayer simulated bots tactical shooter experience that I've been looking for, because it was right there the whole time. Call of Duty Ghosts, amazing game. This game has made me eat my words when it comes to the Call of Duty bashing I've been doing, because it's just incredible. And even the campaign, like I said, I don't care about the campaign. I'm gonna play it once and then forget it. But even the campaign, it's got that dog. I love that dog. Like, that dog is amazing. It's really fun. You get to use the dog at certain parts of the game, and it's really fun. But anyways, getting to the main point of it, which is the offline stuff. All the game modes I love. Search and Destroy is always going to be my favorite. I love that. Doing, free-for-all, team deathmatch, doing gun game is so much fun. Doing Drop Zone is a new one I really like. Blitz and stuff. All of these game modes, and I can play them infinitely forever with these bots that are incredibly smart. I mean, you put them on veteran difficulty, and then I have my class setups. I'll have a class that has all silent guns for once, and just to see, how well I do with that. Or I'll do one where I have just like a sniper and like whatever. Like there's infinite customizable options. There's so many good things in this game that are going for it. And another thing that I like, too, in the guns themselves, every class has that one gun in it, or sometimes more than one, that has one attachment that's automatic, that doesn't take away from the perk attachments that you were already going to pick from. So it's like, whoa, cool. So like this machine gun already has a silencer, so you don't have to equip that if you want to. You can equip 2 other, attachments without having to waste one of them for a silencer. It's like, what? Cool. So like, yeah, this game, it was right there under my nose all these years. I didn't even realize it. But because there's a million things you can do in this game, there's a million ways to customize your setups and stuff. And your opponents, when you have them on the harder difficulties, which believe me, I do, are so much fun, because not only are they really good and they're really smart, and they really do play objectives like they should and everything, but they think for themselves, they're not set paths, and they will kill you in that any means necessary style, where if they need to reload, but you're still in front of them, they will take out their secondary gun and shoot you with that instead, or try and throw a knife or a grenade at you. They're not just going to stand in front of you, take the time to reload, and then try and shoot you again. Like, if they're under fire, they're not going to take the time to reload, because they're smart enough to know to take out a different gun. And it's so fun playing these objective games, too, because you don't know where they're going to come from. Are they going to come right out the open? Are they going to come from the side? Are they going to take, like, one of the underground tunnels or something, and depending on what map you're doing? But yeah, this game has it all, man. All the customizing you want. Do you want to make it as realistic as possible, where like 1 or 2 bullets will kill you every single time? Do you want to make it where, everybody's got the kill streaks, which I always use and turn them on and stuff? Do you want to make it where it's like a really intense, like 2-on-2, 3-on-3 search and destroy? Or do you want like a crazy, 9-on-9 search and destroy? Like, man, this game is so good. I love the kill streaks. I love the dogs. I love the dogs so much. It's such a great game, man. So just keeping it in focus here, I am officially adding Call of Duty Ghosts and Unreal Tournament 3, the Xbox/Xbox One versions of those games, to my list of the greatest video games of all time in Adam Stark's personal list. Now, after saying all of that, here is my absolute definitive number 1 game choice. This is a no-brainer for me personally. It might sound surprising given everything else I've just said, but this is a number 1 game choice. It ain't going to change. It's such a well-done, perfected, and most importantly, underappreciated experience. Okay? For the original PlayStation, The Legend of Dragoon. This is an epic. It's a fantasy role-playing game. They call it a JRPG, but Japanese role-playing game. But this is a role-playing game that is just, I've never been more thrilled on an experience like this. This has been so, for video games, I mean. Don't start clowning me. I'm talking about video games here. It's such a great experience, right? So this game, now, is it only one player or whatever? It's kind of a trick question, because the thing is, it's a turn-based game, so therefore you can always share your controller. Hey, you're always having 3 people fighting the other team or whatever. Not the other team, you know what I mean? The enemies in your battles. So you can always have that player give them the controller to play as that character or whatever, and you play as this one. So technically, it can be up to 3 player, but really, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying. Like, it's all up to what kind of experience you personally are having. Now, I love medieval time stuff, right? Now, this is that, but it's also fantasy, because there's magic and there's dragons and stuff, and powers and all sorts of stuff like that. So the story is A1 classic in this. I love the story in this. Absolutely love it. Okay? And there's many games like this, so it's not like, and I don't like, is what I'm saying. But this one, I love. I can't get enough of. It's an amazing experience, okay? Unlike the other games of this variety, normally you have your menu for when it's your single character's time to attack out of however many you have. You get a little menu option that's like this big, like on the screen, okay? You have like thing here that says attack, like a normal attack. And then you got this one here that's like, use your items, or this one here that's do some kind of a defense thing, and this one here is like activate this or whatever. Here's my point. In every other type of these games, not like that I've done, right? In turn-based games, you press attack, and your character just does the attack. Okay, done. Next player. In this game, every time you do that, you are given a new animation, which the screen kind of shrinks in the middle, and you have to press that button on time to connect with it to keep it going as much as your move will allow it to, right? Every move is capped at a certain number of actions, okay? So this is called the addition system, if we're getting technical. And if the enemy can trick you, they can put up this shield thing, and instead of pressing X, because this is PlayStation, you have to press circle if they do that thing to try and throw you off. And if you miss, then they punch you and you lose some health. But, you still damage them with whatever you did previously to that. So it's so cool because this makes me engaged. Like, I'm not just like, attack. Okay, watch them attack. Okay, wait till my next player. Attack. Watch them attack. Okay. Nope. Now I am glued to that screen during every battle, big or little, because I'm trying to gain... I am trying to gain XP. I am trying to level up. I'm trying to attack them with as much attack power as I possibly can and stuff, right? So, very unique, very well done combat system. And that's just the basic combat system, right? Then there's the shield button that you do, and it gives you defense boost. So if someone attacks you, their attack won't do as much damage, and it heals you a little bit. I think it's 10% or something. And then you got another menu, items. So if you want to use potions to heal your teammates, or if you want to use this thing called Angel's Prayer to revive one of your teammates if they're dead, you have another item that can like cure diseases if one of your teammates has like a disease, like they're poisoned or petrified or whatever, or confused. And then there's like another one which is like attack things, like where you'll throw this spell at them, and then you have to like press your X button really fast to like increase the spell's potency and power or whatever to use on the enemy or enemies if it's like attacking more than one, right? So many options. And then as you progress down the game, I won't get too deep into the story, but I love the story. But the characters unlock these Dragoon spirits, okay? And when they do that, they can, during the battle or whatever, when you earn by doing good on your attacks, right, on your combos, you can activate the Dragoon spirit, which has their own animation for each character, really cool. And then when you're Dragoon, you have a lot more health, you're a lot more powerful during that limited time frame. And then you have your own attack thing, and then you have your magical attacks, which are completely different, which have their own cutscenes and crazy cool stuff. So it's so cool, so much fun, tons of variety, and there's a lot of characters. They're all great. I love the characters in this game. The dialogue is funny and stuff. The dialogue is great, and the cutscenes are really well done. I love it to death. And so like when you get a lot of characters, with the exception of Dart, you always have Dart. The other two you just pick and choose. So like you can switch them off as often as you like, or just stick with two of them, right? So like next time you play, because you will, because it's that good of a game, you might play the whole game with, these two. Or, you know what, I never really played with him or her very often, so this time when I play, I'm going to make it a thing to play with them. And like some people I even heard like will play it with weaker weapons and armor on purpose, just because they want the experience to be that much more rewarding when they win overall in the end of the game. It's like, what? Now this game was 4 discs long on the PlayStation 1. That's crazy, because that's how long of a game it was. Now, blah, blah, blah. Today's standards, that's not a super long game. I can get it. But it's long enough for you to not be able to sit there in one day and binge play it to the end. Like, no. So that's my definition of a long game. If you're gonna do it in over like a week's time of sittings or whatever, and so it's a lot of fun. The story mode, excuse me, the story is really well done. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love all of it. I really do. Not joking. It's that well done. It really impressed me. It didn't sound like anything else at the time. It wasn't copying something else. It wasn't reminding me of something else. It was its own unique, original experience for me. Another thing I like too, the music in this game, also A1, amazing music. The music is fire in this game. So good. They have music for every type of mood in the game. Every moment they have a music for it. They have something right there to set the mood, to set the tone. They got it. For every motif, they have a different song. They got it ready for you right there. It's great stuff. And then like I already said, the combat is very original for a turn-based game, which makes it infinitely better than the crap that I've played otherwise, even in the games that I do like that are RPGs that you take your turns and stuff, turn-based. This one just does it better. Okay, it is what it is. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's why this game is there, for one of the reasons. And then this is the best part too. The graphics in this game, insane. For a PlayStation 1 game, even though it's only like 240 or 360 pixels due to the hardware at the time, the limitations of it, the graphics are insane, dude. Like, the cutscenes, which there's only like 9 of them or something, like around 10 of them, the actual cutscenes, not using the gameplay engine, are really, really cool, really impressive, really neat. It's like, whoa, dang, they did this on a PlayStation 1? Crazy, right? But that's just the start of it. On the levels, yes, there's the typical old-school PlayStation polygons where you see, like, triangles for hair and stuff, that we're all used to. But the graphics on the textures for the environments is so cool. I absolutely love it. Like, look at the grounds. Look at, like, the walls and the caves. Look at, like, the fire. Look at, like, the water running through, like, the brook or the creek or whatever. So good. It blows my mind that this was done on a PlayStation 1. This game absolutely needs to be remade, remastered, re-released, and brought to Xbox. No, but I'm just saying, like, and if they do, they better have a button to do original graphics versus new graphics, because I might just do the original every time because it's still that good. Like, it is. It really is that good of graphics, and this is coming from a game that was decades ago, that was on a PlayStation 1. It's still that good. So, what can I say about the game I don't like? Technically, just this, honestly. And you might be thinking, why am I critiquing any game on this list that's on my favorite list? But why am I critiquing my favorite game especially? You might think that's weird. Well, I decided it's my list. I'm going to do that anyway. Why not? So, this is the thing. For me personally, remember there's 4 discs. Disc 1 was the best. It was, truly. I love it. Beginning to end, everything that happens, I enjoyed that disc. And it was so great. Like, that whole disc 1 was just boom. It was just really good. I don't want to say anything about the story because I just want you guys to experience it. Okay? Now, and then it just seems to get worse. Like, by comparison. Not terrible, not like unplayable, not unbearable, not cringeworthy. No. But worse by comparison. 2 was like, okay, whatever. And then 3 was like, if I'm remembering this right, 3 was like the shortest disc. And then 4, it picks back up again and becomes really good. Like, I mean, they're all good, but I'm saying by comparison. 1 set it off so well that your expectations might be ring. And then when you get to disc 2 and 3, they do dip. And then 4, it comes back up. Whatever. I mean, I'm nitpicking. I literally am nitpicking because the game is that good that I feel like I have to. Just to show you, like, I'm not biased in saying, like, everything about it's perfect. No. This game, there is no audio for the dialogue. It is all on the screen, you have to read it all yourself. Okay? That is the only reason this game at the time got bad reviews. Now, generally speaking, I almost never agree with critics' reviews on like anything to do with media, as in movies, TV shows, or video games, etc. But especially in this case, some reviewers gave this game a horrible review, and I'm going, dang, dude, you suck. Like, you are a critical failure, because the game does it all very well. It's the best use of the hardware I've ever seen, right? Still playable today, still a lot of fun, very original, and the best combat for a turn-based game by far, right? It's got it all. It's got it all. So for them to complain, the only thing I think of is, oh, gee, unlike newer games, and even like games like within that same year, I guess, but you have to do all the reading yourself for the dialogue. It pops up on there, similar to like a comic book, I guess. You got to read it all out loud yourself. Now, you know what? If you can't read, yeah, then you might hate this game, but that's your fault. If you can't read, oh well. You know, it is what it is. I say, sorry. That doesn't stop me from liking this game. Do I have a preference? Yeah, I do. Of course, I'd like them to just talk like they do in the cutscenes, but that's what they did for whatever reason. Okay, they put 4 discs for a game. That tells me they were probably limited with a lot of stuff that they wanted to do but couldn't do. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because they made the greatest game of all time. This game is my favorite by far. There is no game that, like, I'm thinking could top Legend of Dragoon. No. This game is my favorite. It is. It's an amazing story, amazing graphics, and a turn-based game with replay value coming from a guy like me is shocking. Because, like I said, those kind of games, they just bore me after a while. I can play them, but after a while I'm done. Because I'm tired of click and attack and just watching them do it. Like, okay. Whereas in this game, I'm really glued in to my experience. I'm really immersed into all my attacks. It might sound like it gets repetitive, but it doesn't. For whatever reason, it doesn't in this game. It doesn't. I enjoy every battle I do. You know, it's great. Even if I'm just grinding for XP or whatever, fighting little battles that are, you know, nothing to do with advancing in the story and stuff. It's great. Side missions are great. The little Easter eggs, like when you leave a town or whatever, and then you get done with that part of the story, and then you go back to that town to visit again, things are different. People are in there that weren't there before, and you can actually have dialogue with them. Although it might be minimal, you can have dialogue with them. You can, you know, find new weapons and secrets and stuff, and learn more things about the game's lore and canon and all that stuff. So, amazing game. That is my number one game by far. It is never going to be topped. And like I said, replayability, you know, once you beat it, okay, you can play again. Choose different characters. Choose weaker weapons to make your experience more harder. If the game's too easy, you can always make it harder. Okay, you can just choose weaker armor, weaker weapons, and still try and win, you know, that way. And then, of course, technically, like I said, you can do more than one player because you can just pass the controller around when it's their character's turn. You want, this character wants to be Dart, this character wants to be Hashel, you know, boom. You can make it your own experience, but with an amazing story that is so great, so well done. Oh, that's another thing I should have said too. Also, on top of everything else great, every boss is very, very unique themselves. And that's really hard to do, I imagine. But they all have their own different thing. It's not like a lot of games in the past. I feel like it's like, oh my god, I learned the boss's weakness, now it's lame. This game, it's not like that. It's like you got one boss, like the Giganto Congo, who eventually becomes your friend. When you fight him the first time in the town of Hoax or whatever, his special trick is if you miss one combo, even for a second, he picks you up and he slams you on the ground so you cannot screw up your combo or you're just going to get barraged again and again. So that's kind of cool. Like, they really went out of their way to think of cool things. Okay, this character doesn't get hurt, or this boss doesn't get hurt by magic. Great, that's kind of neat, because now you can't just rely on magic you might have stocked on or whatever. This character doesn't affect by the Dragoon thing, and this character is gonna do this all the time, whatever. You know, I could go on and on and on. But you get my point, is with how many bosses this amazing game has, they're all very unique, and they're all very fun. And then just the music for every type of mood, for every moment, that is really beautiful, really well done music. And then the combat that's over the top for a turn-based game, but very well done. And they all complement each other really well. So that is my number one favorite game of all time. Absolutely. That's a fact. Anybody got any questions, any comments you want to leave? Anything you want to ask, be my guest right ahead. Remember, I got 2 channels. I got StarkKommandCenter, and then I got Adam Stark under AdamBomb51. And on video games, I used to play under the gamer tag AdamBomb51, one word. Now it's Adam space White Noise, one word. And then sometimes it's Dr. Stark, one word, DOCTASDA, okay? So check out my video game montages of all my skill moments that I have recorded from playing online over the years and all the games that I've done really well in. And comment on this. If you're really nice, give me a thumbs up. Comment. Let me know what you thought. Peace.